stand on stage and only have to smile and shake hands. Fortunately, I don't have to try and look graceful hanging from a hoop either. Now, it is my privilege today to spend a few minutes to introduce you to the new Age Pro product that will be coming here to the Philippines. Give you a little bit of background on what it is, what it has inside, and how each of these things will help you redefine your age. So, to start off with, most of you are familiar with Charles Darwin. He has that famous saying, the fittest survive. Well, what he actually said was it's not just the fittest, but it's those that are able to adapt the best that survive. Now, in the past, you may have looked at aging as something that you could do nothing about. That's just not true. It started off, lots of research in the last few decades has looked at the way we age and the things that we can do to modify that. The book you see here kind of covers a lot of that lifespan research. Basically, Dr. Sinclair's lifetime work in studying longevity. And he looks in here, and the one quote, if anything, out of the book that kind of brings this all home says, no biological law says there is a limit on how long we can live. Think about that for a minute. You may have looked at it, your family history and other things, and thought, 70, 80, that's where my family goes. Well, biologically, that's not predetermined. And after reading this book, it kind of spawned the thought of, well, what can we do to modify how we age? We advance the slide, it's not working for me here. There we go. All right, so the book covers what we call blue zones. These are areas around the world that, for one reason or another, have people that live past 100 years more often than anywhere else. Now we're going too fast. Anyway, so the blue zones have something unique about them which led to people living longer lives. And in the book, it kind of talks about these characteristics which seem to be common among all of those blue zones. Right? First of all, sleep. How many of you are getting at least 7 hours of sleep a night? If you got young kids, that may not be an easy thing to do. And activity. You want to be active at least 45 minutes a day. Now, that doesn't necessarily have to be strenuous or intense activity. Walking works, but you need to do something to get your muscles and your body moving. Do you eat your fruits and vegetables? Now, this is something that we've all been taught from being young kids. It's important to eat them. And here you see it says 5 fruits and vegetables a day. I want you to think of that as the minimum you should be getting. You should actually probably be shooting for upwards of 10 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. And bottom line, you can't eat too many of these. There's a lot of nutritional things in fruits and vegetables which have direct impacts on aging. As we go through the ingredients of Age Pro, you'll see this come up again. Now, the interesting thing, obviously having a healthy weight is good, but a lot of things here, those last few, have to do with the emotional side of your health. Right? So, do you have close contacts? Do you have a faith? Doesn't necessarily mean a formal religion, but do you have an idea that there's something bigger than you, there's something else about it, right? A spirit of sorts? Do you have a bigger picture of life than just here and now and you by yourself? Those things are connected to living longer. Now, obviously, smoking is one of the things that has the biggest negative impact on health and aging. So this is one behavior that's been associated with the opposite effect of what we're trying to achieve here. And the last one is talking about your social connection. Do you have at least 3 really strong friends? People you can go to and tell your problems, people that will listen to you when you do this and that will care about your situation and what you're going through. That emotional tie, this can be family or friends, but do you have that connection where you can lean on each other in your times of stress? Having that aids with longevity. Can we get the next slide? All right, so let's dive in and talk a little bit about what's in Age Pro and the benefits each of these ingredients offers. Next slide. Slight technical difficulties. So, there we go. Going a little too fast. So you saw in the video there are the three things that are important in aging. And the first of those was aging immune cells. When you're first born, you have a very naive, a very immature immune system. When you reach your 20s, that's about when your immune system reaches its peak. And then after that, you start to decrease. And by the time you get into your 40s, you are back down to roughly, in some respects, the same strength of immune system as when you were born. And that's when all of those chronic diseases and other things tend to increase because now your immune system has diminished a bit. All right. I don't know where we're going with this one. So as that you age, the second thing is what they call cellular senescence. See if we get the slides to catch up with what I'm talking about here. Cellular senescence is, well, let's just say this. Senescence is the fancy word for aging. But it also kind of means slowing down and not functioning as well. You saw in the video they referred to it as zombie cells. And the senescence part of it is just cells throughout your body, whether they're immune cells or any kind of cell really, tends to slow down as we age. But the problem with that is they stop working as efficiently and in some cases actually produce things that are kind of harmful or at least are hindering other aspects of function. And so as these cells accumulate, they make it harder for your healthy cells to achieve the same effect they once did. And so part of the thing and a lot of the focus for the Age Pro product is helping your body to get rid of these slow and kind of ineffective cells. And so they're trying to reverse that aspect of it. Now the third thing is dealing with NAD. Talked a little bit about that in the video. NAD is a compound that your body produces and it decreases as you age. I'll show you a chart here that shows that, and then at the end I'll show you how, with the product, you can reverse this effect. So NAD is something that has close ties to how your body ages and the side effects or the symptoms of aging. But this is one thing that you can't really consume because it gets degraded really quickly, and so you have to get it in a different format. And the research that goes into the ingredients within the Age Pro product have some pretty big names behind it. You can see a few of them listed here. Places like NASA, Harvard, Mayo Clinic. These are all places that have studied the ingredients that are in the Age Pro product in terms of how they impact aging. And so let's start off talking about the first main ingredient in the product. It's called NMN. I won't go through and tell you what the whole name is. It's a big long name and it doesn't really matter all that much other than this is the precursor compound that comes before NAD in your body. This is a form that you can consume and that your body will then utilize to make NAD. And so as you saw in the video, just within a couple hours of consuming NMN, you can actually see an increase in NAD. So this is kind of, I'd say, the central ingredient within the product, in addition to the transfer factor we'll talk about in a minute. But reversing that decrease in NAD is key to a number of the anti-aging effects of the product. The next ingredient in here is called alpha-ketoglutarate. This, like NAD, also decreases as you age, and it has some benefits in terms of the way that you age and how your body handles it. Now, the next few ingredients that we're going to go through here have a big fancy term. We call them senolytics. Right? And really what that means is breaking senescence. And so again, senescence is that aging or slowing process. And so a senolytic kind of breaks that or stops that process from happening. And this is where you're also going to see again a lot of your fruits and vegetables. This is where a lot of these nutrients come in. One thing that's unique to this product and unique to 4Life is this white button mushroom extract. It is standardized to an ingredient you can see up there called spermidine. This is one ingredient that has been specifically shown to offer these senolytic or age-stopping benefits. This is a custom extract that is made only for 4Life. You will not find this anywhere else. This is one of the things that makes H-Pro such a powerful and unique product. Adding to that, in the next slide, great, is quercetin. A lot of you have probably already heard about quercetin. This is found in a lot of fruits, a few vegetables. It's actually something that most of us consume a decent amount if you're getting your fruits and vegetables. Like the white button mushroom extract, it has benefits in terms of kind of stopping that aging process. It's also a really good antioxidant. It, along with the next ingredient here, apigenin, are both considered classes of compounds that are called flavonoids. And this is probably one class of compounds that you get in your fruits and vegetables that have numerous health benefits. But these two have been shown specifically to have extra benefits or extra strength when it comes to stopping or hindering that aging process. So that gets us to, of course, the transfer factor ingredient. You'll see as we go through this that research specific to how transfer factor can slow immune aging. And if you remember, that was the first thing we talked about that happens as part of the aging process. And I guess that probably shouldn't be much of a surprise to any of us here, right? The transfer factors in themselves can have some very good anti-aging properties. So you go to the next slide. So this is a study looking at natural killer cell activity in adults. Now, as you look on it, on the left-hand side, you can see this is in young adults. On the right-hand side is in older adults. The thing I want you to notice is the right-hand side, the level of threat readiness, right? The strength of their immune system starts off at a lower spot. So as we age, we have a decreased ability to handle immune stress. But notice, once you add transfer factor, it doesn't matter whether you're young or old, it raises that threat readiness to the same level. And so transfer factors have the capability to kind of overcome that age impediment, helping you gain the same level of threat readiness and the same level of immune strength regardless of your age. Now, the next study we're going to talk about, actually a couple of different aspects here. This is a study done in worms. And worms actually turn out to be a really good model for looking at lifespan, and another thing we'll talk about in a minute called health span. But fortunately, worms only live about 28 days, a little over a month sometimes. So it's really good. You can test a lot of things in a relatively quick time frame, where humans, it would take 80, 90, 100 years to study the same thing. But in the studies they've done, they found that if it works well in a worm, it generally also works well in humans. And so this has turned out to be somewhat of a surprisingly good model for measuring lifespan. Now, when we look at these particular worms, whether they're untreated, they live again to about that 28-day time frame. When you add in H-Pro into this mix, about those worms live about 22% longer. That's pretty good stuff.